The Serch Says podcast is brought to you by Bruetta Tea, organic, natural, loose-leaf tea that comes in a patented tumbler, so you never get the tea leaves. Instead, you just get the tea. Find us at bruetta.com. That's BRUETTA.com.
One, two, three.
And now, everybody, MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch.
Serch will never stand still.
Yes, yes, yes. Party people in the place to be. It's the other white meat, MC Serch, officially walking into the studio. It's been a while. I'm back. It feels good to be, you need a little vacation and need the time to take that clean air in through your N95 mask that you breathe while you walk into the streets, protecting yourself from the contaminants of the planet Earth. You just got to protect yourself at all times, man. Instead of having a gat, I now have a mask. It's 2021. Get it right. Speaking of getting it right, I want to thank our sponsors. You got guys who pay the bills, man. Bruetta Tea, an amazing tea company, loose leaf tea in a patented tumbler so that you get all the tea, none of the leaves. We'll leave the leaves for, Sully and his new company. It's not a game, people! It's not a fucking game, people. Thank you to Bruetta Tea. Thank you to my beautiful partners. We also did something special for my man, Dr. Dre from Yo MTV Raps. We did the Yo MTV Raps Berry Tea to help with his GoFundMe. So if you want to go and help and support my brother from another, my man, of course, my dear friend, you can go to bruetta.com. And you can buy the Dr. Dre Yo MTV Raps Berry Tea. So shout out to that dude. Good dude. Love that dude. Speaking of people that I love and care about, that's some Hollywood shit, right? Like, oh, I love these people. I care about. But the real deal is like, when you do something with people and it forever is indelible in people's hearts and minds, you have an affection for these people. You find out, that they're human beings behind the show. Did a show a couple of years back. A lot of y'all have remembered it. You've been talking about it, tweeting about it in the Twitter world. Show called The White Rapper Show. And my dear friend Elliot Wilson got on the interweb about 3 months ago and was like talking about it. And then all of a sudden people started talking more and more about it. So I was like, you know what? I need to have these brothers back on the show because it's only right. And when I say brothers, I don't mean just the dudes, because I mean brothers in a universal, worldly kind of manner. You know how they call dudes, like girls call each other dudes now. So it's like I got my brothers and you know what? I'll just keep it right. My brothers and my sister and my sisters. They're all here. It is the White Rapper Show reunion, and they're all backstage now. Most of these people have not seen each other in well over a decade. They might have been stalking each other on the interweb. I don't know. They might have been like outside. Like I'll keep it a buck. I was following Misfit in Brooklyn a couple of times. It's a long story. It was bad. It was dark days for me. But I'm just really glad they're all here in 2021 doing their thing. So it's time to bring them into the room. Ladies and gentlemen, Shamrock. Ladies and gentlemen, Sully.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Queen,
Hello.
Misfit, 100 Proof,
What
and
up?
Jus Rhyme are in the building. Ladies and gentlemen,
What up, y'all?
the crew from
What's
the
up?
White Rapper Show.
Long time.
Love, 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 love.
Look at all these people, man. Look at all these
Yo, Bobby.
beautiful people, man. It's just beautiful. So I want to start, obviously, with the dude who won the whole thing. Maybe you guys remember him, maybe you don't. His name is Shamrock.
Yes, sir.
Shamrock, first of all, congratulations
Thank you.
on
Thank
that
you.
win. I do want to share something with you that you don't know.
All right.
And again, I want to start the show off by sharing some things that you might not realize.
All right.
So when the show was coming on the air, I realized, you know what, there might be an opportunity for these young men and women to go beyond whatever the show was. So I was like, you know what, let me talk to some record labels and see if I could like secure a record deal for the winner. You know, the 100,000 is the 100,000. It's great money. Like you said, if I got to wash some drawers for 100,000, fuck it, I'm gonna wash some drawers. It is what it is, right? Misfit, you didn't have to wash no drawers, did you? I think maybe you did.
No, I wasn't there long enough.
Okay, all right. So, so I went out before even the show came out. I had one episode in the can. I went to a bunch of labels. I went to see Sylvia Rohn. I went to see Jimmy Iovine. And I went to see a bunch of people. They weren't fucking with it. Nobody wanted to fuck with it. The day of the show, the finale, I'm in New York. And we're having this big party in Brooklyn. My man Mikey Palms had a club. We're having a big party. And I went and did Funkmaster Flex the night of. And I'm talking a gang of caca on that show. Like, I'm talking crap. Like, just, you know, having a good time, laughing.
Yeah.
And 3 nights before the show aired, I get a call from Kanye. And Kanye says to me, who's going to win? And I said, I can't tell you who's going to win. It's against my contract. You're my man, but I can't tell you. He said, well, whoever wins, we want them on good music.
Damn.
And I'm
Never
like,
knew
word?
that.
Word?
Never knew that.
I was like, word? Like, for real?
Because I got some stories too, but I never knew that.
Okay.
Rather not
So at the time, Kanye had this little white dude with him that ran with him. That was his A&R dude. I can't remember the kid's name. He was mad funny. And he ran around with him. So we're in Brooklyn, and we're at this party, and the place is packed. I mean, it was packed. And everybody in New York, we had the #1 show in the country. I don't even know if you guys know that. We were the first VH1 show to be #1 in the country, 1849. All 8 weeks of the run, 10 weeks of the run. The finale was the highest rated show in the history of VH1 before Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives and all that. We were just crushing. Come in. The little white dude that runs and does A&R for good music comes up to me. He goes, yo, John Brown got this, right? He got this. John Brown's going to win this. And I'm like, yo, you're going to have to watch and see. You're just going to have to watch. Yo, that's my man. I love John Brown. Hallelujah, holla back, all that shit. So I'm like, you're going to have to watch. You're going to have to see. Everybody was doing the ending finale. Everybody loved Forever. I Love Atlanta. Everybody's like all digged in. And I'll never forget, I was on the stage. There's dead silence. They announce the winner. I look around. Little white dude's gone. I call Kanye. They didn't want to fuck with Shamrock. They wanted to sign John Brown.
They should have.
And I'm like, yo. Anyway, so I always give Kanye the gas face for that forever. Because
That's like
he
walking
just,
in on your
whatever.
parents having sex. You should have told him that.
I just wanted to keep it a buck because one of the things that y'all don't realize, all of y'all don't realize, and I want, in my contract, because people always say, oh, you ran the show. Oh, I'm a cast member like y'all.
Man.
The only difference is you're the contestants. I was the host. I don't own the show. I never owned the show. I was a cast member. Like in my paycheck, it said cast member like everybody else, right? So I didn't fucking own the show. So I didn't have any control. But in my contract, it says in my Viacom contract, I cannot fuck with any of y'all professionally in perpetuity for life. Couldn't help with your music careers, couldn't help with acting careers, couldn't help with modeling careers, nothing. And if I did, it would interfere with my career and the winner and all of that.
Yeah.
So I would see Shamrock, because we moved both into the same neighborhood. We were both in Orlando.
Yep.
And Shamrock would be like, yo, help me. And I'm like,
Nah, I didn't say it like that.
no.
Hold on.
Shamrock, I'm not saying you said, yo, help me. You said, yo, can you support my project? Can you give me support? And I was like, no, because I didn't want to fuck with your money.
Yeah. No, so this is inherently true. Me and Serch got the lawyers involved after the show. We were trying to see if we could move, how we could move.
Right.
And it wasn't just me. I think that you were trying to see if you could,
Absolutely.
walk Persia
That's
and that
absolutely.
kind of thing.
That's
And
exactly
so
right.
So we found out pretty quickly that we weren't going to be able to do that, right? So at that time, we couldn't, and nobody on the show could sign a deal for a year and a day after the airing of the last show. So I didn't know I had Kanye or good music even on the line, but by the time the finale ran, it didn't even matter if I won because I had every label in Atlanta trying to mess with me.
Right.
There you
You
go.
feel me? You feel me? So I wouldn't have signed with Kanye, period. But I think he's amazing. I really do. All the craziness aside, that dude's a musical genius. So definitely Serch. I wanted to see. I've always, got at you on social or whenever we bumped into each other in the city, see how we could move. And shit, let's get it. Still, I'm right down the road, but I know you're moving, and I'm not even really doing the artist thing anymore. But there was a lot going on, man, and I do have a slight regret not doing the finale in New York because I didn't know who was that in tune to it. But I had been lying to all my people in Atlanta for so long. I told them the finale was live just so they would leave me alone.
Oh, wow.
Smart.
So then when the finale was taped, everybody looked at me and I was like, y'all would have told everybody. So anyways, yeah, man, that's crazy. I never knew that, bro.
Yeah. Nah, it was crazy. And it was right after I left Flex's show, like my phone was blowing up like, yo, da 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 da. So what happened? So you're in Atlanta. Obviously, the announcement happens.
Yeah.
And then the floodgates open.
Man,
and
it was
then,
so crazy. My bad.
No, please. I want to hear all about it, please, because I don't know anything about this.
It was crazy. So I think there was a time where you and I had actually I was at the radio station in Atlanta doing the morning show and they called you in. So like I was there live and you were there and we might have even done that twice. And the day of the finale, a lot of people don't know this, but me and John Brown, we were the last two left by the end of the show. We had to do so much media the week leading up, and the day of the finale, I had to wake up. We both had to wake up at like 6 a.m., get on a conference call, and we were patched into radio stations for like the next 8 hours. Mm-hmm. So I was like exhausted. We were doing one show after the other. And this is where I got a lot of respect for John Brown too, because he could have dialed it in. He could have acted like he didn't give a shit because he already knew how it was going. He did what he had to do, and there were a couple times where the DJs were trying to get real slick and funny, and I'm just trying to not mess up the bag. I'm trying to do good and just like let the show air, let no spoilers. I want the bag. And halfway through, John Brown was just like, he was like, "Yo, Sham, he's trying to be funny. Like, don't even talk to him, bro. Like we were tired like halfway through, and we were kind of over the jokes and over it. I'll never forget how he just kind of stuck up for himself a little bit and for me. And we talked on the phone after. He wished me well. We bumped into each other in Cali when we did Wildin' Out, and Jus Rhyme was there. That's the last time I seen Jus Rhyme, but that was like, man. And then Misfit came down to the ALI. Anytime I saw somebody associated with the show, it was like you saw your cousin that you hadn't seen for like years. So even seeing y'all now, like I ain't seen Sully face to face in a minute. 100 proof. We've been on social. It's like it took a pandemic for this to come back together, but I'm so thankful because it's just like I see y'all happy and healthy, and that's all that matters. Like the show is whatever, but it's great to see you. So I'll give it back to you, Serch. I yield.
No. It's really cool to hear. And passing to your right, Sully, aka Bobby Sullivan.
What up?
AKA the Cannabis King of Boston.
I didn't even know it was like that, to be honest. I see you, Sully.
Yeah, come on up, man. Come on up. I wouldn't go that far.
Hey, no, listen, I gotta, I'm gonna put my rapper swag on 1,000 on every one of y'all for this entire podcast. It's going down. But you left the show. When you left the show, there was a lot of, I remember there was a lot of people that whole snitching thing was like, people talked about, yo, I respect my man. My man stood up, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, yo, it wasn't snitching. There's a difference between snitching and doing what you have to do as a responsibility for like the show and telling, whatever. But you had a real code, and that code goes deep for you. Like it goes really deep. And I wonder what the word was like when you came home
When I came home, everybody was like, "You did it. That's what you were supposed to do." You know what I mean? And that I feel like everybody just knew. I mean, that's how I was, and I mean, just the way I was brought up. I feel like it was the wording at the time. It was just like, I wish John Boy was here too, because we could talk about it. Like, shout out John Boy, shout out Persia, shout out G Chow. But in reality, it was just the way you worded it. I felt like I was being told to like, because we are like leading up to that time. Like if you watch back, I said to everybody like, hey, we should just do like a Wu-Tang type joint where we all just kind of each of us spit and then we'll do something wild for the video. Who cares? You know what I mean? They don't want us to do the normal everyday, you know what I mean, garbage that's happening. They want us to do something different. And I felt like we went the wrong way. So I felt like leading up to that moment, I was in my head like, they're making us lose this. I'm standing up here because they didn't listen to me. Because I just thought we should have just rapped just like the winning team did. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the way it was worded, it just felt like I was being told, like, go tell me why it's their fault you lost. And where I come from, like, you take your L's and that's it. So I kind of feel like I was kind of getting like, I had issues before. If you remember, I had issues during the Family Feud situation when Cham was like, to describe OJ, delicious. Greatest quote.
Listen, show. I look like a dummy at the time. But everybody who covered that show was like,
good answer.
Might have been the most intelligent moment on the entire program.
For real. Best answer, man.
It was nutritious.
Nutritious. That's what it was.
Serch, you met my buddy Black Josh. He would say nutritious in my face for like 3 years, man. Shout out to Josh. But back to you, Sully. Keep going.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just saying, just in general, just where I come from and what it is. It's just people always, you just keep your mouth shut and move forward. And I feel like that was just kind of like it for me, because when I heard it, it's just something in my head that had been ingrained in me since the beginning. You know what I mean? It was just kicked in, and I was like, all right, I'll just write a dope 16, and I'll be out. And it was a dope 16, so I was, you know what I mean? Really quick, before we keep going.
Go ahead, please.
100 proof. I love your shirt, man.
I made it myself.
Dude, I love your shirt. And what up, Jus Rhyme? What up, Misfit? How are you?
Yeah,
you guys look great.
Likewise, bro.
It's crazy. I thought Jus Rhyme would be joining us from the autonomous zone in Seattle right now.
Hey.
Yo, bro, I might be there right now. Do you know where I'm at right now?
I mean,
I love that.
Bobby, we gonna get there.
Cancel button.
But the thing that a lot of my homeboys, you know, a lot of MC dudes that I knew that I rolled with were like, man, like, because, you know, look, I think it's all fair to say that in hip hop, there's all sorts of people that you roll with. There are all sorts of elements that you roll with. So a lot of my friends had certain bags on certain MCs. It was what it was. And I couldn't say anything, you know, obviously. But my man had a bag. He had like 10 racks on Sully to win the whole thing.
Oh, my bad, man. He should have called me. He should have told me.
Talk about snitching. Like, come on, man. Like, so, you know, so he was like, yo, man, why did you tell me? I'm like, yo, it is what it is. But did people come up to you and say, yo, you know, I can't, you know, you would have won it. Do you even feel like ever saying like, oh, I wish I would have stayed in. Maybe I would have won it. Is it ever, or do you ever think about it that way?
I don't like to think like I wish I would have. You know what I mean? Because that's just not going to help me in moving forward in my life at all. You know what I mean? So I feel like everything kind of happened the way it was supposed to. I got so much love from the hood when I would go, because that was the same time, like the Stop Stitching like movement was upon us at the time. So when I would go and I would travel, and when I was touring and stuff, I got so much love from the hood that like, I was like, oh, I did exactly what I should have done, because this is where I belong anyway. So it was just kind of like, it was just what it needed to be.
Yeah, no, it's great. And that's right, because the whole snowman thing was happening. Gucci and Jeezy were going at it. One of my favorite I was just reading it. I have it somewhere. I keep Gucci Mane's Guide to Greatness book.
Yes.
I read it. I
got an autographed copy.
I read it every day, right? But one of my favorite Gucci Mane lines, is when Gucci went to jail in 2009 and the judge said, "Do you think you're guilty?" He said to the judge, "Bitch, I might be." And that was like, it's a great,
No
you know. So I'm sure if you went to Atlanta with Shamrock, I'm sure Gucci gave you mad love for like not snitching.
Look,
I never made it down.
but look. I talked to Sully and his father on the telephone after we finished filming. If Sully felt he needed to do that to stick to the code, just the presence of his father on the phone, I wouldn't have wanted to have to answer to him about snitching. So if he felt some type of way on it, I know you did the right thing, brother. Because I talked to your dad and I got that presence.
That's how I felt, man. And like just my whole family in general and just everybody that I was rolling with and everybody that the people that were around me, you know, it just felt like that certain situation. I feel like if you had just worded it differently, I probably would have just been like, oh, I'll just go make fun of John Brown. I've been waiting to do this the whole time.
Right. I mean, and that was kind of like since day one, it was like, you know, John Brown had the you know, the bullet on his back. Because this question of authenticity was questioned literally from the time Persia and you guys did Lights Out. It was literally authenticity question nonstop.
That was a wild night, right? That was a wild night. For
so
sure.
let me tell y'all something that you don't know about. I'm sorry, what?
I said, it was like, get out for me. I was hiding in the back like, yo, how do we get out of here?
First of all, you weren't hiding anywhere. You were in bed going, excuse me, ma'am, could you please not use that language in front of me? So let's be clear with you. Facts. That's facto. That's a facto right there. So let me tell y'all something. This is crazy. That I've never shared this with anybody. Well, my wife and my kids know it. So the first episode, right? Very much like you guys, I'd never done a TV show before. And I'd done the pilot a year before. And, you know, obviously it was a condensed version. It was people that, you know, weren't even on the show and all of that. And I want to talk about the selection process and you guys, how you guys got picked, because I have no idea about that either. I just walked in and was like, oh, here's the contestant. But I wanted to ask y'all, because when we did the first episode, they were like, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And they were like giving me like this earpiece in my ear. And I'm like, yo, I ain't putting that shit in my ear. And they're like, yo, well, no, you have to put it in your ear because that's how we're going to feed you information. I was like, no, just tell me what I have to do and I'll do it. And they were like, okay, well, you're going to do this and this and this. And I was like, all right, cool. So then I did the first, you know, we did the scene and I was like, you know, I think I said something like, I don't give a fuck what y'all do, what we put you through. You're going to rep hip hop to the fullest, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I walked out, right? And that was it. Whatever I said. I don't even remember what I said. But the point was, whatever they told me to say, I said it, and I did what I was supposed to do. The entrance to, you know, the outside world, if you want to call it, outside it where you guys were living, and then the control room was literally a hallway away. And in that hallway, in that door, in that control room was obviously all the Ego Trip dudes, but all of the VH1 hierarchy. President of VH1, Jim Ackerman, VP Christian McLaughlin, president of Viacom, Ken Mock from 10 by 10.
Shout out to Christian McLaughlin. That's my dude.
That's my dude too. I love that dude. We still talk to this day. You know, he runs Comedy Central now. He's the head of programming for Comedy Central.
Please pass my number to him.
Yeah.
Tell him I said what up for sure.
Absolutely.
That was my guy.
So I do my scene and I come out and my wife was there, my old business partner, everybody, my kids. And Jim Ackerman comes out and he's crying. This is no lie. He's crying. Like a grown, and he's like 6'4", crying, and he says, "Yo, that was the best television I've ever done in my life."
Wow.
And I'm like, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I'm like, what is this fucking reality? Because I'm about to go outside to Brooklyn and the Bronx and like hang with some dudes who can barely put fucking a nickel together for a 40 ounce, and you're crying about the best TV of your life. And my wife was like, "That was amazing." Everybody, all right, cool, whatever. I'm like, cool, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I don't need an earpiece and I don't need, you know, none of that. This is my life, you know, this is hip hop, like it's easy. But what y'all don't understand is I went back, you know, I was not going to come to New York unless my family was with me. So we went back to the place that they had put us up. I go to sleep. like 4 o'clock in the morning, I get a call. They're like, you're going to need to be on set at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, why? And they're like, we can't tell you, but you'll see it on the door. And I'm like, okay. And I come back the next day, and there's a sign from the Ego Trip guys that says, you're not going to believe what just happened. And it's John Brown is intimidated or assaulted or something by a black dildo, and Sully saying something, and Persia used the N-word and put a dildo in John Brown's face, a giant black dildo, and Jus Rhyme was insulted by the N-word, and all hell broke loose, and this is amazing. And that's what it said. And this is amazing television. Cap, cap, cap. And then I was told about the N-word chain. I'm sorry, Misfit. I'm sorry.
Only like the second night or something as well, right?
Yeah, the first night.
It was the first night. It was like the first night. Like
I
y'all
think we had just got there.
Yeah, it was literally you just got there. It was like the first night. And were y'all drinking? Was there something going on where you were drinking? Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely true.
Yeah, okay. So there was a lot of alcohol involved, obviously.
You didn't even need that.
Oh, yeah, no. John Brown. You know what? John Brown was like, oh, no. So what is going on with 100 Proof's camera?
I like the camera, man.
I just took autofocus off of right now.
Okay, got you. So anyway.
Humble flex that it's a remote control camera. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm not texting. I was doing that.
By the way, Serch, the crew took us to the liquor store that night. Just FYI.
Oh, okay, good.
You know how that goes.
Hey, listen.
I'll tell you how that works.
And we didn't have to spend our per diem. They bought it.
And they paid for it. So you know how that
Now,
works.
that's the point. They give you the per diem because here's your food. What are you going to spend your money on?
Get liquor.
That way they're not pumping us full of liquor. We bought our own liquor. We didn't do it. That's fucking genius.
I could have swore they bought it
out of
too.
liquor.
Because I told them, I said, I don't have a job right now, so this is going to pay my rent when I get back. And they were like, all right, what do you mean? You just bought all the alcohol. But the thing
I
is,
should have said that. I didn't say that at all. I spent money on booze.
But we didn't even need alcohol. You put 10 white kids who
alcohol.
want to rap in one room together. It was so weird. It felt like, what planet are we on? And then take your phone away. You can't talk to nobody. Can't watch TV. We were forced to interact because I'm just going to stare at a wall. So it was like, it was crazy. But yeah.
Misfit, where were you during the whole, like, when it went down? I feel like you were just like, this has nothing to do with me.
Like, I'm gonna stay out of this.
No, that's why I wasn't there. I'm like, I'm going to hit on the pretty girl. Like, you let y'all be fucking loud and stupid. And I was back there. Then I'll be really honest. I have to throw your business out there, which Sully never caught on, I don't think, a couple days. But when you see a girl take her purse to the bathroom a couple times, I'm like, all right, I'll holler at you next week. So I was smart enough to catch that. Sully's just fell in puppy love, but I'm like, all right. So we're out of the spectacle of the
spectacle.
Yeah, of the dildos. I don't want to catch flying dildos like I'm Bert Kreischer.
I fell over a chair, which was amazing.
I just remember hearing that because I didn't want to see it. All I heard was the audio of them playing it back, and I'm hearing, I'm gonna show this punk who he really is, and Sully's going, exactly. Like that's all I heard, and I hit the floor. Like I was laughing so hard, I was crying. And the makeup person was trying to powder me, and my eyes are like watering. And she's like, "Can you like wipe your eyes?" And I'm like, "Wait, can you play that again?"
Man.
I'm gonna show this motherfucker who exactly.
That exactly broke the VH1 mics. You could hear it tweak out on the airing.
Yo, dude, it was
I was ready. I'm lucky I fell over that chair because I was looking to get kicked off the show in the first night. In reality.
And then, when Jus Rhyme said to Persia, could you not use that word around me? And she said, well, I don't see no doors.
True.
She was so official, like a ref with a whistle. God. She was fucking official, like a ref with a whistle.
Yeah, man.
I fucking love that girl. Anyway, we shoot the next episode. We shoot episode 1 and we shoot episode 2. We go to 1520 Sedgwick, and then we do the whole name that
word chain.
Right.
Serch.
I'm sorry.
Can I ask about the N-word chain?
Yeah. What about it?
So y'all manufactured it overnight, or you had it waiting because you knew one of us?
Yo, that's a great question.
That's a really good question.
That is a great question. You know what? I don't know. Because all I know is when I got there for that episode, they were like, yo, present her with this.
That was a quick,
And I'm like, and I
had
opened,
to know.
and I
They had to
literally,
know.
I opened it. I was like, okay.
Man,
Hello, Misfit.
Hello.
that's my home.
So,
That's okay.
it must have been really strange for you, coming from outside the U.S., being like, you know, a girl who is a transplant into the 5 boroughs, into Brooklyn, growing up on hip hop, you know, being multicultural but also multinational. Was it a bit of a culture shock for you how the show is kind of manifesting and creating itself?
I mean, I'd already been in New York about, I think it was like 4 years before the show aired. And I was using a studio up in like Gun Hill Road in the Bronx. So I was kind of used to the whole things that wasn't too unusual for me, I suppose. 'Cause I was already like in that scene for a while.
So getting into, I want to understand how you guys got on the show. Like, cause I never understood that.
I
either.
actually got asked to be on the show. I didn't even audition.
Wow, really?
See, half and half.
Her and John Brown.
They a
Hyped up.
friend who was friends with one of the producers or something. I think they wanted another female. They only had 2 females on the show. They wanted another girl, and they're like, he knew I was already rapping and already doing stuff for a while, and so I actually thought it was going to be like on some fly on the wall documentary. I didn't really know what it was, so they told me to pack a bag. I only packed a bag for like a couple. I didn't really pack all my makeup didn't get my hair done or my nails done, or like I just thought it was like an overnight thing. And then I'm like, in this house I can't leave, and I'm like, shit. I got no. I was like, if I'd have known I was going to be on TV, I was like, I would have sorted myself out. But yeah, I didn't realize it was. I didn't really know what it was before I kind of just stepped in. And suddenly I'm like in a hotel the night before in Yonkers, and I'm just like in the show. I think you guys all knew each other because you'd been auditioning, and so I was like the outsider, and everyone's like, "Who the fuck is this bitch?" I'm like, who's this model thinking she can rap?
It did seem like Misfit and John Brown were ringers because they had flown us. So like I had got filmed for a documentary in ATL, and it wasn't about white rappers, but I was the only white rapper featured in it. And it was for VH1, but it never came out. So the casting director for the White Rapper show saw that. She told me, come to the audition. You're going to jump the line. Just basically show up, and we'll probably send you to New York. We get to New York, and we're in this hotel for a week. And we couldn't even really leave our rooms. We just had
you guys all hanging out. So you guys
barely. Like they put some pizzas out in the main lobby and be like, go eat pizza. And I'll see Sully and be like, yo, what's up, bro? Or whoever we met. But it was like that for a
back
week.
to your room.
Right, exactly. So then when we do the NYU thing and we see all these other crazy people, we're like, is there another hotel with like all these other people in it? And then when we finally pull up to the White House, that was the first time that we saw Misfit and John Brown, and we were like, "Who are these?"
And we'd already seen all the actors, like
John Brown had the shades, Misfits
like,
looking like a dime, and we were just like, "Yo, they got some ringers. Like we're the real ones, and they're just the Hollywood ones."
Yeah.
But let me say this: when Misfit came to Atlanta after the show, she was in her own skin there. She's herself. She was more plugged in different places than I was. She'll land and be like, "Yo, Sham, you got a studio? I got some beats from the Heat Makers. We're gonna make some tracks." I'm like, "The Heat Makers? Like the Dipset Heat Makers? I got a studio." And then she's like, "Cool, because I'm gonna go to the club later and meet DJ Burnone. You want to meet him?" I'm like, "DJ Burnone, who just did Gucci Man and Young Dro's tape? Yeah, I want to meet him." And he ended up doing my tape. She's like, "Bet." And then I'm gonna go get a tattoo from.
Oh, yeah, that's one, right? That's one.
You want to meet him? And Randy's my big bro now. So Misfit just started making plays. I'm like, she's a G, straight up.
Misfit took me to see Ice-T. She took me to a body count show, and I still to this day talk about it. Remember the body count show? I was like, I gotta go hit this.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I
kind
of was in the scene kind of before the show, so like obviously we've known Proof and being on tour with all that lot for years and stuff. So yeah, I had a few connects.
Yeah, it's because of you I got to be in a mosh pit at a body count show. That's like check.
I forgot about that shit. Where was it?
Oh, I have no idea. Someplace in New York, I would imagine.
I feel like it was Irvin
I'll
Plaza.
never forget it. I don't know what it was, but I'll never forget it.
Oh no, I just remember being in the mosh pit. I remember being in the mosh pit and being like, I'm so happy to be here. They're playing Cop Killer. I'm like, this is happy for I grew up on that. So it's like I was a little boy. I wasn't allowed to have that. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't allowed to listen to a lot of that stuff. So as an adult, being there, like meeting Ice-T and then being like, cool, I'll see you. I'll be in the mosh pit.
Yeah, we're like backstage or something in the green room.
Yeah.
Coming back to me now. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, I gotta head out front. I'll be back.
Were you in New York? Didn't you and Persia become roommates after the show?
Who, me?
You.
Oh no, I just ended up at Persia's house.
Oh, I could have like I just roommates. I'm like, for real?
Nah. Okay, so there was an interview at Hot. No, there was an interview at Hot 97, and I had happened to just be in the city. I was doing something in the city. I think I was in Queens. So I called her and was like, hey, what are you up to? You want to hang out tonight? We ended up going to like comedy shows and just kicking it. The next morning, they had her come to Hot 97 for an interview with John Brown. And I was like, do they want me to come? And she was like, I got Sully right here. Do you want Sully to come? And they were like, oh, we don't know if he can make it down from Boston. And she was like, nope, he's laying here right next to me. And I was like, I'm ready to go.
Y'all were like lit and y'all called me and y'all were like, Sham, what's up? We're roommates now. Y'all must have been drunk or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for real?
Yeah,
They're
of course
roommates?
we were.
Like, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, no. She came up to Boston too. And we got wild in Boston as well.
Imagine.
Throw a little G-Child love in here. One of my first tour of the Hype, I did right after the show was done. Well, immediately when the show was on, I got a blood clot and died from touring. That was great. Literally 3 months in the hospital. I spent most of the show being in a hospital bed, not getting to watch it. Coming out there, went on tour. When I got up to Pennsylvania, G-Child was there, and I was playing Crocodile Rock, this club there, and I think there's some beef. Like we had to sneak her in or something. I don't know. She's fucking crazy. I love her so much. She let us stay, like my entire band stayed at her house, and we're all like laid up on the ground in like pillowcases because I came like 8 hours the next show. She's the best. She's so great. I wish she could be here.
Yeah, I love G-Child.
She's the best. Yeah. So like she's let me, and she'd fall back, get on tour, come that way. She'd always hit me up. She shows so much love. She's such a
It's a shame she's not here right now.
I found out about the White Rapper show from a piece of paper blowing down Hollywood Boulevard that was covered with dirt and water. And my rap partner picked it up, and he's like, he took a picture of it and sent it to me when he was working at Whole Foods. He said, I don't know what this is, but MTV, VH1's doing some White Rapper thing. We tried to send it in, never heard anything. Put our app tape together, me rapping, and put it on YouTube. We were the only thing that said White Rapper show application, so it hit the front SEO page on Google. Sasha hit me up on a YouTube message. First time I ever received a message on YouTube, and was like, can you be in New York on Monday? And that was it.
That's how you got on the show.
That's some Willy Wonka shit.
Yeah,
That's like some fantasy near.
That's like, that's like the fucking golden ticket, 100 proof.
Literal serendipity. Like that's crazy.
But no, I asked him, I was like, well, why me? And it's because of the politics, They like, we want a wild white boy.
Well, we were all a very niche character, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a big part of it, right? It's like everybody has to represent a certain section of, where the ripple kind of went from. And a lot of people didn't understand that, like, for years and 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 years, I keep hearing, is there going to be another one?
Oh my!
Is there going to be a White Rapper show, volume 2?
Oh
is there going to be,
God.
This and this? And I'm like, you guys don't understand. It was a social experiment, right?
Exactly.
Like, it was not supposed to be a finding the next great white hope. It was about how far did the ripple go from 1520 Cedric Boulevard to this incredible, diverse cast of human beings that all love hip hop in a different way, shape, or form. You got 100 Proof, who's definitely, much more leaning towards the rock and rockabilly hip hop, but loves Rakim. And then you have, G-Child, who, grew up on, Vanilla Ice and Marky Mark, but, rhymes like fucking Dipset. So, it's just like it was this weird enclave of people. And for me, like, I was the purist, and for me, it was real simple. I'm a purist. Like, I come from a place where there was no records ever recorded, like things that I listened to, things that I was moved by. There was no recorded hip hop. There was no such thing as hip hop. There was dudes dancing on the floor, dudes writing on the walls, dude DJing in parks, and we were just, rocking parties and doing the knowledge. And that was like the fifth element. Like, there was no idea, it's funny, I was listening to Grand Mixer DST. He said, we've gotten so deluged to the culture of hip hop that people forget that when we heard people call it hip hop, that was a derogatory thing to say about the culture. Like, we didn't even like that term. And I'm telling you, first person, he's right. I was like, oh, fuck, that's right. That was like some coined phrase in the New York Times or the New Yorker. Like, we didn't have a name for this. There was no like business of hip hop. Like, when I told my mother I was going to be a rapper, she was like, what do you mean, wrap gifts at Sears? Like, that, what do you mean you're going to be a rapper? Like, you're going to wrap gifts at Macy's? The fuck is that? You're going to college, asshole. You got a 4-year scholarship, a free ride to the St. Louis School of Music at George Washington University. You're going there. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So like, and then, blank years later, that was 1984, 2008, 2009. We got all of y'all that represent all different parts of the culture. It was crazy. So anyway, so Misfit was the ringer. John Brown was the ringer. Sham, you auditioned. Sully, did you audition? I got an email randomly, and it was like, "Hey, come to New York and audition." So I was like, "Sure."
Where
I was hungry.
I was about it. Oh, you said you found a thing on the floor, right? Yeah.
What'd you say? I couldn't hear.
I was wondering, where did you guys hear about it? Like,
I got it from an email. And then I went to New York and I just rapped.
I had already had.
That was it.
Go ahead, 100 Proof. I'm sorry.
Like,
go ahead, 100
No,
Proof.
I was in I was on like a national touring band, and we had just got off of. Well, Tommy Boy went bankrupt, and all that weird stuff happened. I kind of went in and out, and I think Sasha or somebody else too was at the time of that band was like an A&R guy, and I could be speaking that wrong of who it was for sure. I know he knew, even when he knew the band, which I'm going to name because it's like an ex-girlfriend you don't bring up. But I was contacted that. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm already doing stuff. It's going to be silly. Then I'm like, I take myself less seriously than anybody. A few times did, but I had to go through 2 auditions still. Last minute, they said, like literally the last day, come to Atlanta because I'd missed the one by me. I was on tour, the closer one. I got back, and at the time I had a 77 Lincoln Mark V, and it was not getting to Atlanta. I had a buddy or a truck. I drove there straight, like the whole drive. I'm like trucker blush and like fucking energy drinks to get up there. I did an audition like out of my mind. Like I was so sleep deprived. And then I had nothing prepared. I remember just start freestyling for him. And it was like, calling out the people in the audience, right in front of me. Then, just going on about the casting people, man, they're just dying laughing. And then I got the call back. Yeah. Like the day, like, oh yeah, come to New York, like tomorrow. Like, what's your shoe size? What's this? Pack a bag. And that was that. But I did 2 audition steps, but I'm pretty sure. And I turned a couple down, like, no. Then finally, yeah, fuck it, let's do this thing. And that was, someone had found me from something, but I was, in the band was already fairly big, but it was more the rocky stuff. But it was a weird transition of like, not being fond of it, but I think someone was an A&R. I know for sure Sasha had worked with them on something else. But I still, it wasn't a free pass for me. I still had to do the auditions, 2 steps, like one before New York. So it was a process.
That must have been dope to like have them tell you were on, because I called them the night that they remember Shamrock. We were in the hotel and they were calling everybody to tell them they made the show the night before. Did they call you?
Yeah, vaguely.
They didn't call me.
Bring back my memory.
So everybody, it was like the last night, and they sent all of us back to our rooms. They're like, "We'll call you tonight if you made the show." And like it was like 11:30, and I was like, "Why hasn't my phone rang yet?" And so I called them and I was like, "What's up?" And they were like, "Oh, nobody called you? Yeah, you're good."
Yeah, I was already on a plane. They were like,
I was like,
"Bye, Jus, get on a plane." And then they called me and said, "No, come back."
I think there was definitely some changes.
Wow.
I know there was for sure there was a cast member. I won't list names out and stuff, but woke for the days of our social experiment. Pretty sure Serch called me wrong on this, but I know we were going to have a transgendered cast member at one time, and I think the thing was too much for them. And
that's right.
For things, and I think maybe G took that spot.
That's right.
But it was, but the different things. I'm a cocky bastard. I saw all you guys. I'm like, yeah, I need you to try it. I'm making a show. Look at me. And again, I was the me. There was no other the me. Not even talent wise. I'm like, I'm the spectacle of which I am. They needed this role. Here we go. I'm there either way.
Yeah, Proof. So, that was a rapper out of the Bay? Wasn't it Catastrophe or something like that?
I'm not sure. And even with not knowing, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
throw out
I was
names
today
or
years
anything
old
else.
when I learned all of this.
And by the
Hey,
way,
don't worry about it, Sham. It's all good.
they were
It's all good.
I can't hear.
they were they were dope as fuck too. I checked some up later. I'm like, they were legit. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
just they wouldn't have made it just for the niche of needing a a different sexual preference or gender identity role. They were just dope, and you wouldn't have known. And that was awesome. Hell, maybe the casting didn't even know. That wasn't important. They know who they are. And again, I don't want to throw someone's dirty laundry if they said they didn't want to be a part of the show for sure. But that's probably what maybe some of you guys. I know, like Sham. Shout out to fucking Stess, the MC. Stess,
My homie.
Yeah,
he is
shout out to
so dope.
Stess.
And there's so many people that are like, it's a TV show, man. You can't have two fucking, Joeys on Friends. It's that way. And I think it came down to the same area, same kind of thing, do this and they go away. But it would have been like Serch, you said, people didn't understand the social experiment. How boring would it have been if there was just an entire show of white kids who wanted to sound like the next Dipset artist, and everyone sounded the same and everybody acted the same, said the same slang, acted the same. What a boring show that would have been. So you had to have all the different things in us to bounce off and whose personalities mingled and and clashed. Obviously, we wouldn't have the Persia John Brown, big debacle, but I mean, it was definitely the spots we had to be.
Yeah, but there was so many other not even debacles. There's so many debates about the show. It's not even debacles. There's so many debates that went on, like the entire season. Like, I remember another big debate, and I'd love to talk about this between us, like as family. Was Persia's 8 bars better than Jus Rhyme 16 when Persia got kicked off the show? Right? When we were tell her to step off, that was the nursery rhyme, battle. And Persia did 8 bars and couldn't remember the rest of everything that she wrote. But she did the Jack Be Nimble. And to this day, people come up to me, they're like, yo, Persia's that slick, Persia's that bitch. Like she did that, right? And she had like 8 bars that were fire, and then she lost it, but just had 16. And I remember like we were debating behind the scenes, like,
I felt bad for y'all. That's a tough decision because I know what is just, right? So it's a hard one. I get it. I get it.
But your rhyme was dope, but it was just like, it was one of these things where it was like, okay, which is better? Is it 8 bars of fire or 6 or doing what you're supposed to do, right? Which was just did a 16. He memorized it. It was dope. Was hers. It was such a tough deliberation for us. And I wonder if you guys even thought about it after when it ended, and what you guys thought.
I felt like I stopped remembering my rhymes once I smuggled some weed inside the house. I got some weed inside the house and I forgot all my rhymes. I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna remember anything.
Me too.
It's hard to memorize 16 bars like on the spot when you got cameras in your face and you're like under pressure.
Y'all tried to ice us too, because you'd be like, Shamrock, step forward. And then there'd be an 8-minute pause of silence. You're not allowed to talk. And you just lights hitting you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like when you call a timeout before your free throw. Right. And you're trying to ice them. Right. So it was like, plus the pressure. Plus you didn't like us. I was convinced that you didn't like any of us, Serch.
That's really real.
And I have family members discredit me winning the show, and they say you only won because Serch liked you. And I'm like, he didn't like me. I don't think he liked any of us. It wasn't until the show was over and I got to kick it with you and your wife at the wrap-up party that I was like, all right, he doesn't hate me, but he didn't. Let's be real for me.
No. Let's be real clear about this, and let's be 100% clear about this. I absolutely didn't not like y'all. That's bullshit. I respected all of y'all. But I couldn't tell y'all that. And I damn sure couldn't show y'all that. Because it was a contest. So if the camera went click and it was all love, how fake would have been? Yep. So I had to stay in my element, and this is what I wanted to share with y'all, which you can't possibly know because I haven't told this to anybody. For me, it was real simple. Like, I saw this show like this, and I'm just going to keep it a buck with all of y'all. My philosophy walking into the show and every day that I was on that set was this. All y'all motherfuckers owe your life to me. Fuck you. You owe your fucking life to me.
True.
You don't even fucking walk on this earth without third base MC Serch. Fuck y'all. Show and prove now. Fuck y'all. Now, off of that, with your skills, I was like, okay, nice. Okay, dope. Okay, dope. But still, my attitude on set was, fuck y'all. Y'all owe me your air you breathe. Fuck y'all. Now, that was because that was what I had to do. It was told to me to be hard. It was told to me to be an enforcer, to not let anything slip. And also, the same thing that all of y'all got, imagine me times 1,000. Lord Jamar, Nas,
Jeez,
Jay, J. Rue the Damager, OC, Nonfiction, all my people, Mark Echo, all my people. So I couldn't let any of y'all slide on anything. So when the shows would come out, they were like, motherfucking right, Serch. Motherfucking right. Tell them fucking kids, man. They better know. How the fuck did they not know Run's house? The fucking Bimmy coming up to me. Supreme coming up to me. Like, yo, you motherfucking right, Serch. You know what I'm saying? But I respected the shit out of all of y'all. Because I'm telling you, I was there. I know what you guys had to do. I was there 18 hours a day, just like y'all, because I was a cast member just like y'all. The difference was how I approached the show was this is something that I feel honored to be a part of because there's a small part of me that is the reason that this exists in the first place. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So that was my approach to judging and hosting the show. But it wasn't a dislike. I thought all of y'all, I loved all of y'all. And I especially loved Persia because she's from my hood.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loved Persia. Everybody loved Persia.
And I still love Persia. And I told this to Sully, like, I fucked up my relationship with Persia. I had to make amends with Persia. You know what I'm saying? So I fucked that up, and I love Persia, but I owe her an amends, and I made an amends to her. But I also held her down when she needed me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my people. Thank you for joining us for the part 1 of the Serch Says podcast White Rapper Show Reunion Special. Join us for part 2 next week. We're going to have some crazy, funny, and engaging, insightful conversations like this. Check it out.
I remember I was taking all 100 proofs backwards. I was like, let me get something backwards, man.
I think I remember thinking like,
watch for you.
I was like, this gonna make him fuck up. Keep smoking, Sully. Keep smoking. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean,
you was my comp, bro. You was my comp, man.
So DJing is a win-win because I can sneak my own music in there while I'm playing. And I've played like all over London, Ibiza, Toronto, all over the States.
And he looked over to me for me to kind of co-sign the line, right? To co-sign the line, right? And I did this. Right? But then I looked up and John's hand started doing this. And I just wanted to hug him. Yo, I wanted to be like, yo, time out. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. It's okay. Breathe.
Had to fight for it. Yeah, so lost it. Got it back. Showed him. I was built for it. Yep. Got the PhD. Dope. Thank you, man. At SC, went to UCLA. Like I said, study what Nipsey was talking about. Buy back the block. Community-owned, self-determined real estate. Got behind black and brown folks and let it rip.
Can I just say he kind of changed my life because I had no idea who Waylon Jennings was when I met him. He had a shirt on.
You're welcome.
Remember, yo, for real, thank you. He had a shirt on with Waylon Jennings, and I was like, "Is that Superfly?"
Even y'all, just seeing y'all happy and healthy and smiling, like that's the most important thing to me. Like 2020, like shit got real. So like for the rest of our lives, like let's just cut out like the bullshit, the ego, all that fake shit.
All that coming at you next week for part 2 of the Serch Says podcast White Rapper Reunion Special. Peace.